Thursday morning, the 27th, is it? I think. And it's 11 o'clock and I've done really well managing to get here on time, for me. It's another lovely day. It's really quiet on the beach and the waves are just gently lapping against the shore. And I'm just hoping that today the relatively empty parking area stops empty, because yesterday afternoon everybody just carried on. Anyway, I'm not going to go on. I promised I wouldn't go on, so that's it. So, right, we seem to enjoy the little bits of information about what we find on the beach. So today we're going to go for a walk, and I'll try not to get my feet wet, and that might be easier said than done. And we'll see what we can see as we're walking along the beach. Woo! It might be a bit travel sicky bouncy, because obviously I'm navigating walking and missing the waves, which is I struggle navigating walking at the best of times, so put the two together and ask me to talk at the same time and it might be a challenge. I'll see if I can find one of those whelk shells that we were on about yesterday, because we've had so many. Bit of sea glass. It's only a tiny little bit, can you see it? A bit of sea glass twinkling. It's quite a popular pastime, collecting sea glass, and the ones of us that come to the beach regularly will often keep our eye out for the little twinkly little bits. This is that groin that we were looking at yesterday when the tide had started to come in, and we got great big waves sort of bashing up against it with the breeze. But you can see how steep the beach is, and then if I walk up to it, you can see how deep it is at the other side. So if I'm about 5'6", so I'd say that's easily over 4 foot high, that drop. Anyway, we're going to have to walk this way now. So, wibble wobble up the pebbles. Loads and loads of those shells we were on about, those stones, I called them shells, didn't I? Stones that we were on about yesterday. That's a good example, just in passing. Boring piddocks, if anybody missed it. I know, small things, please, small minds. A few more cockles. It's not easy to spot things on a pebble beach. Everything just looks like everything. It all just blends into one. Right, so we'll walk around the groin. I think one day we'll do a litter pick. When I'm a bit more organised, I'll bring my litter pickers in a bucket. Can you see that green rope? There's always little bits of rope that have been cut off in boats, which are not ideal because they just break up and end up being little tiny bits. I'm looking for whelks. Whelk shells. These are those that we were talking about yesterday. The whelk egg cases that the big shells lay their eggs in. So, and yes, Shirley Heraclius, pieces like that are concrete. And there's another one here, and another one. And they obviously end up in the sea and get washed down. Here's a bit of brick, a bit of exotic red brick. There you go, you see. But once they've been tumbled and rumbled in waves like we saw yesterday, they turn into stones. It's a bit of seaweed there. Now if Kevin were here, he'd be cracking jokes about the sea having a wee. Oh, don't get any better. Nearly 30 years of marriage and they don't get any better. They don't get any funnier. Right, so I still can't see any whelks. I think that's because we've had such rough weather lately. Most of February. Just look at that beach. Just while I'm digressing, can you see that there's a big hump there, and then another big hump there where the beach has been pushed up by the sea because we've had such a lot of bad storms in February. Oh, another bit of sea glass, another one there, look. It's going in my pocket. Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, the bad storms in February, they've literally pushed all the beach material right up against the sea wall. So because they've done that, they've just cleaned all the beach. So all we've got, it's almost like somebody's been out with a big riddle. That's a nice cockle. I'm going to put that one in my pocket. It looks as if somebody's been out with a big garden riddle and riddled all the beach and straightened all the pebbles out and flattened them and made it all look neat and tidy. But the consequence of that is, oh, there's a bit green bit there. Little green bit, tiny. The consequence is that there's no shells and there's no interesting stuff. But if I carry on doing this at 11 o'clock in the morning, obviously the tide's going to change over the course of the weeks. So by another week or so, the tide's going to be out at 11 o'clock. So we'll see more beach and we'll see what is revealed on the sand. I can't see one whelk. That's amazing because there's usually some. Very odd. I'm going to have to do a 6-foot diversion around this lady and a kid when I get to her. I'm just hoping, and please stop at home. I know it's beautiful and I know I'm on the beach and I know I'm doing this video, but I literally live just across the road and I put my shoes on and ran out. If everybody that lives in Cleveleys or near to Cleveleys comes out for a afternoon on the beach, it's going to end up mobbed. Anyway, back to sea glass. Can you see there's a green bit there? Can you see it? There. That's what I would call not cooked. As you might say, not tumbled and rumbled, because sea glass is nothing more exotic than bottles which have been tumbled and turned in the sea. But you can find all kinds of bits in all kinds of states of tumble, which is quite interesting. This big groin, which we know on Russell Beach as the terminal groin, that was built, I don't know, time flies when you're having fun. It must be about 6 or 7 years ago. And that was built because we kept getting such a deep channel on this beach, and people were getting cut off all the time. Because we've got North Shore drift and you get a channel cut out in your beach where it erodes it and deposits it in different places, it being sand. And we ended up with a really, really deep channel. And when I say deep, it must have been easily 5 or 6 foot deep. So the tide comes round in the channel, and then anybody that's on the other side of it when the tide comes in is just cut off. Ironic. Smoking kills, so does coronavirus. I'm trying to wiggle my way up to Mary's Show. It's partly underwater at the minute. When it's a bad tide like we've had recently, it's completely covered. You can just literally see the top tiny little bit sticking out. So I'm going to... I found one. Ta-da! That's the only one I've seen. There's your whelk shell. And that's what lays those fluffy egg cases. I managed to find one of them. Yeah, so I'm gonna walk slowly. I'm trying not to jiggle this video because I know it makes you sort of feel a bit queasy. But I'm going to walk slowly up to Mary's Shell, and then when we get to Mary's Shell I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'm going to walk a little bit more swiftly back to my desk, upon which I shall do some work, allegedly. How are you coping with working from home? I've been working from home now since I think it was 1992 and got on with it reasonably well. But this week even I'm finding it difficult to concentrate. I don't think the sun's helping because it's making me want to go outside. As no doubt it is everybody. Must admit I did an hour outside in the garden after lunch yesterday. I thought if it's going to rain all weekend, I can always put my computer on and do some work then. Got to enjoy it while you can. So, here we are at the cafe. Just seen some birds land. Can't see them though when they've landed. Here we are at the cafe. Here's Mary's Shell in the sea. It's unusually quiet. It's a bit like when England are playing a really important football match and everybody's stuck inside watching it, and it goes deathly silent. There's no cars, there's no noise, and then all at once, when the match is finished, everything comes back to life. So there you go, Mary's Shell. I'll zoom in, or I will if I can. It's not playing, it's not zooming for some reason. In a future episode I'll start at Mary's Shell and walk a little bit further south. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this morning's instalment. Tell all your friends. If they just like the Visit Falco's Facebook page, I'll turn around. If they like the Visit Falco's Facebook page, they'll get notifications when we start a live broadcast, and then they can watch, and obviously you can watch it afterwards because it'll be shared to Facebook. So I love you and leave you. Stay home, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow.